I mean, on many, many occasions, Martin, both domestically and at international level, you face the media very soon after the final whistle. Was that the right way for Southgate to approach that result? 1-1. I thought England would win it. They didn't. He thought they'd win it probably. They didn't. But was his approach there at the end with the media right?
Oh, well, I don't see anything wrong with that. Whatever he said that England didn't perform as well as they might have done. But they're in a fantastic position to qualify. His job is to qualify for the competition, to qualify for the Euros. At this minute, it's been a terrific tournament for them. Really, really good. It's the first time they've dropped some points. And away from home against a side that would have been very, very difficult in normal circumstances, and particularly now with the political situation, it was really atmospheric. Let me put it this way, and it's a really good result away from home. I genuinely do not know what the fuss is about. His job is to qualify, and I don't think he should have to come out and explain every single time that England just do not actually perform as brilliantly as they have been doing in the competition.
I mean, did you ever pay much attention to what you perceive to be knee-jerk reactions? Because that's what he was getting in some quarters.
Yeah, but I mean, England under his reign, they've contested a final of the European Championships and been in the semi-final of a World Cup. So I know that maybe people are still looking for that 1966 to be broken at some stage or another. This England squad have as good a chance as anybody. I don't think that when they step into the European arena or the world arena that they fear any of the teams. Maybe what might happen on the day. I still think if Harry Kane had scored the penalty, they might have gone on to have beaten France in the quarterfinals and Morocco in the semi-final. You'd have think they would have been strong favourites.
Maybe.
It's all that there.
Maybe.
Yeah. But at the end of it all, it's. I don't think he has to come out and explain to himself.
No, fair enough. I mean, in the past, Simon, you have been critical of Southgate being so near yet so far with England. Yeah. On these various occasions, in Moscow, more lately in Qatar, and in between at Wembley against the Italians. And yet on this occasion, because they have the lead they have, because they're on course to be in Germany next summer, to a degree, are you giving them a pass here for a draw which might have been a win?
Well, I think his job is to get England to qualify. And that's what he's likely to do. And I think to some extent, it's more content over style that or substance over style. Sometimes we have too much style over substance, and we look a certain way, and then we get against sides that we would expect to struggle with in tournaments and subsequently do. Because as I've said repeatedly about Gareth, there was no doubt that England is a better setup as a result of Gareth Southgate being there. The fact that they have a more harmonious environment in terms of there's no cliques, which is almost embarrassing to have suggested that they existed under other managers, and makes you wonder what those managers were trying to achieve. But in this instance, Southgate has created a harmonious relationship for players to bond into, and the England setup has created a decent relationship with the media, and has created an effective team that has given itself opportunities. My accusation would always be, and has been, that those opportunities haven't been taken. Now, yes, of course, Martin is right. He can't legislate for Harry Kane missing a penalty, but what he can legislate for is changing the game when the French were in a very difficult position and we were on top and putting his foot down. He can legislate for adapting to the circumstances when the Croatians got better in the second half and him doing nothing about it. He can do the same against the Italians when everybody in the entire world is watching this momentum build up, know that Italy are going to score at some point, except the coach, who doesn't seem to want to change to it, and then change directly after an outcome's happened. All of those things, I think, are fair observations. But I think going after Southgate now, the problem with football and the benefit of football is if you increase expectation, and sometimes you don't meet it, you're going to have to listen to some of the hysteria that goes with it. But I think that going to Ukraine, with all of the circumstances that Martin has described, and putting in a performance where we've had 70% of the ball, we've had 11 shots on goal, they've had 2, and 3 or 4 of our creative players haven't performed at the level that we'd asked them to or hoped to, yet we still come away with a result of a draw. Again, I don't understand why anybody would feel the necessity to go after Southgate and say somehow we don't think that's symptomatic of England going in the right direction.
Yeah, everything's got to be taken into account here, Martin, I think.
Well, Simon's mentioned 3 particular games where it could have changed. It could have done. We could have done this. We could have done that. Simon also believes that one of the great managers of all time, which I agree with him as well too, is Brian Clough. Brian Clough used to say in our dressing room, sometimes the best thing to do is to do nothing in a game. I accept the fact that there were less substitutions that you could make at that stage to change the course of games. But sometimes if you do make the substitutions and they don't work, you might think to yourself, forget about what the media might think and what other people whose opinions you may respect have. You may think to yourself, I wish I hadn't have done that if that was the case. Do you know what? Everything depends on the outcome of the result. Everything depends on the outcome. Yeah. When you go and win the game, if you take it through, if there have been a number of false dawns for England over the last 25 years. There are a number of really good teams that they've had. They've had a World Cup team in 2010, South Africa, I think, that you'd have felt. Having said that, Frank Lampard's goal's only about 3 feet over the line against Germany. Things like this here. But they've had a number of... They haven't won the World Cup since 1966, but they've had a number of good teams. They had a chance in 1996 when they're at home with a side that you believe is as good an England side as in the last 30, 40 years. Weren't able to see that through either.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.